5.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece, producer and engineer extraordinaire, and today I'm checking in with you to shine some light on how to record to an MP3 properly. Now, I'm specifically doing this lesson because a lot of artists that I encounter and work with on a day-to-day basis seem to overlook this really small detail that makes a huge difference when it comes to recording, and especially when it comes to placing your hooks and getting everything timed properly within your track. Let's jump into Pro Tools and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've got two beats in this session and they're exactly the same. The only difference between them is one is a WAV file and the other one is an MP3. And they were rendered from the same session. Everything was the same. Just literally the only difference is what file they were rendered as. Now, if we zoom into the beginning of these files, these clips, you can see that the WAV file starts right away and you see the waveform developing. But when you look at the MP3 on the bottom, there's actually a gap of silence before the waveform begins, making this technically out of sync. Even though it was rendered out at the tempo and everything was correct, this gap of silence that's added throws everything off and just pushes everything a little bit behind. Now, this isn't just a special circumstance to me. This is something that happens with most MP3s. There's a very strong chance that you are also going to be encountering this if you are recording on MP3s from other producers and internet producers who probably don't know the best way to encode their songs and productions before they send to other people. Now, when you're recording to an MP3, the first step you should take, now knowing this, is to go in and just remove the silence before the actual WAV file starts. So what I would do, if I was in this situation such as I am now, and let's pretend that I didn't have this beat up here. So I'll hide and make it inactive. This is just the MP3. Now I have to make a decision. I would increase the size of the WAV file so I could see it a little bit better. Try to blow it up as big as I can. Now when I actually shrink it, at least in Pro Tools, I can see this seems to be a pretty important point of amplitude. It almost looks like that's where it begins until I really blow it up. So I'm going to kind of point that area out and then zoom in a bit more. And I'm just going to expand this so I could see where the file starts to really change direction, or the waveform starts to change direction. And it looks like somewhere around here, to be honest, because it's starting to get, up, down, up, down. Now it's getting a little more drastic. So I feel like somewhere around here is probably the point. So I'm going to just slip that, Command E in Pro Tools, and I would delete it, take the beat, and then bring it to the beginning. And now I have the tempo, which is 152. And now I'll just play it with the metronome and see if it all syncs up. So obviously it syncs up, and if I take it one step further and I go into grid mode, I can look and I can see my transients are all pretty much on the grid, which makes sense for this beat because I made this beat and I know how I lined it up. However, like most producers are producing to a grid, so they will have transients on major block points on the grid, as you can see these peaks. So I could further just visually tell that it's on time outside of listening to it as I just did. And really it's as simple as that. You just got to crop the silence at the beginning of your MP3 and bring the waveform over so it starts right at the beginning of the session. As long as you have your tempo synced, everything else should be on autopilot. I hope you got value out of this tutorial. If you did, I'd love for you to share it with your friends, your producer, artist, engineer friends, or just anyone you think that would benefit from this information. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe, and comment with any questions so I can help you improve your mixes in the future. Thanks, guys.
5.